Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I got a super interesting story for you today. It started with a Facebook post called True Miracle. I've posted on my Facebook about this many times. I'm not sure I've made a video about it. And so I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to show you and tell this story. You can see it. My Facebook is there under Buddy Wayne Webb. And here on the top today is True Miracle. Okay, I copied and pasted this in the comments. The picture that I included here was right from my Bible this morning. Actually, I opened this up, randomly opened my Bible today to this scripture, and I highlighted it and took a picture of it and posted it on the internet. I do that often. And here it is, Esther chapter 4. And Mordechai told them to answer Esther, "Do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than all the other Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this." And we all know the story, or anybody that, Christians that read the Bible or whatever, they know the story of Esther, okay? And so here's where I started it, and I'm going to show you. I said a few months after I'd been shot by surprise during a home invasion, which was in 2012, I wrote an email which I titled True Miracle. And the send to list included every supervisor of the Midland Police Department. Back then they had them listed on the internet. They don't do that anymore. The mayor and city council, the sheriff, then Governor Rick Perry, about half the churches in Midland, and other people. I'm going to show you the list in a minute. I was describing this violent crime and giving God the praise and glory for saving my life. But I didn't send that email, and I had it saved as a draft. I mean, there was a lot of important people that were included in that send to list. I then went and took a bath and read my Bible. That was something that I was doing daily due to the recently being shot. And I randomly opened up my Bible to Esther chapter 4. Queen Esther's uncle Mordechai had found out that Haman was planning on having all the Jews in the land killed, and told his niece Esther, she needed to go talk to the king. Okay, Mordecai wrote back, and she tells Mordecai, or tells people, says nobody can go approach the king without being summoned, or you will be killed. Mordecai wrote back and said, "Do not think because you're in the king's house you alone will escape. For if you remain silent," and that's what I read a minute ago. Relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And how do you know you're not here for such a time as this? Well, she did talk to the king and told him of Haman's evil plan. The king ordered that Haman be hung on the gallows that he had built to hang Mordecai on. That's the story. After I read this, I knew I had to send that email. I couldn't keep silent about this. And so what I have is a print screen of the, I'm going to show you here, of the send to list. Okay, so that's how many people that I was sending this email to, okay, of this called True Miracle. And here I'm just going to kind of go over, show you, here's all the churches there. Okay, so here you can't imagine how many people in Midland have never heard of underground facilities and parties and all this and the secret police and all that. Look how many people have known about this since 2012 when I was shot. I mean, it's being hidden from the public. I actually said many times, everybody knows but the public. They have hidden this from the public. And then every supervisor in the Midland Police Department, there's their names right there. I'm going to show you, as you go through. A lot of them are now, we know, were secret police. In 2012, I didn't know they were secret police. Then the mayors, city council, city managers, there's former mayor Wes Perry. Remember his partners in business at the time was Rupert Murdoch and Sir Jacob Rothschild, Dick Cheney, Vice President Dick Cheney. They were drilling for oil in Syria, so there's the city council. Just a few of these are still, there. I think John James is still, he's on my friends list. And then also Michael Trost, and he's rerunning for office. I just wrote him the other day, Michael Trost did, on Facebook, and I said, what are you doing about all these homes where the owners are reporting people in the attic after I was ambushed and shot? And he didn't reply. I haven't posted that in public, but I took print screens of me sending Trost that message. But just showing you, the governor and the sheriff. Governor at the time was Rick Perry. Trump later made him the Secretary of Energy. We're going to talk more about that in a minute, because I have a post about that. And then look at the news agencies, here News West 9, KMID, the Midland Reporter Telegram. Here's one out of Austin, Huffington Post, My Centennial. So I included some of that's who is on this list of this True Miracle email talking about the crimes here, okay? And so here's my next comment. I said, notice that on this list is the current chief of police, Seth Herman. He has known about the crimes at my home for a long time. And so he was one guy I pointed out because he is our current chief of police right now, And I have multiple emails to and from Herman about the crimes at my house. Them are all attachments of an email that I had sent him, We got Chad Simpson, we have the city council member, we got the Haley Dunn, it's just a ton of that. Doctors faking x-rays, all this evidence, and the rape and murder here. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. The medical crimes, the secret police. Okay, this is all our chief of police has been sent this, And here he wrote me that March 21st, 2018. Mr. Webb, I appreciate your status update attachments. I can definitely understand your concern. I have no idea how long I'll serve in the current capacity as chief of police, but I assure you whoever's appointed to the chief of police will be provided with a full and comprehensive update regarding your assessment. And then he later blocks my emails, and the crimes have never stopped. Every single day crimes are being committed against me while people are trying to terrorize me from my home. But the point I'm making is he was on the original true miracle email way back in 2012 before he was chief of police. Okay. Also notice that former Governor Rick Perry was sent this email, and in 2019 he resigned as Secretary of Energy 3 months after I made this video of concrete being poured behind the Home Depot store where I'd just been with DHS, showing them where I believe the human trafficking murder tunnel was located, one that was going to the underground homes where the oil show parties were at. Maybe the DNA of that murdered girl was in that tunnel that they now filled with concrete. He had known about these crimes for a long time. Perry had, okay? And so I could have put the one where he resigned, but you can Google that yourself. He resigned 3 months after I made that video of them pouring concrete back here. I had just been there 2 weeks before this picture was taken with DHS showing them where I believe that tunnel was going to my house. I live right on the other side of that wall. And you could see where it was in an old Google Earth Maps. It was easy to tell there was a tunnel cut from Home Depot coming directly to my house, and in my backyard's where one of the underground homes are. That's where the oil show parties were at. That's where the little girl was murdered at, etc. But Rick Perry has known for a long time about these underground oil show parties and all these crimes. Also notice on this list is the late Sheriff Gary Painter, and before the election for Midland Sheriff, I secretly recorded Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano telling me the underground homes was the hideout for Painter. That phone call is now a viral YouTube video called Sheriff Painter's Hideout. No wonder Painter ignored the evidence on this capital attempted murder. As I've said before, everybody knows but the public. And the picture I used here was there's Painter right there with his good friend George Bush from Midland, Texas. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Especially since they say the underground facilities were put in for George H.W. Bush, his dad, when he was vice president back in the 80s. Okay. My next comment here says, I didn't get any replies after sending that email, but right after this happened, News West 9 was reporting that the police were looking for a guy named Eric Perez, who was wanted for capital attempted murder and other felonies out of Lubbock County. I wondered if Eric was the one that had shot me, and maybe the other felonies was for my daughter being raped, as she lived over in Lubbock for a while. During this time I was driving home, I saw a guy across the street that looked just like the picture of Eric. He was at 3807 Fair Circle and switching vehicles from a truck to SUV. I saw him loading baskets of laundry, and he didn't live in my cul-de-sac, so I called the police. When the Lone Star Task Force got here, he was already gone, but I invited these officers into my home to view the footage from my security cameras, and then the burglar in the attic set off one of the motion alarms. Beep, 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 beep. They asked me, what was that? And I explained it was another home invasion, and explained how I had been ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in the attic. Okay. This is the police report from that day. It's dated January 3rd, 2013, okay? And so here, across the street, male subject matching the description of Chris Perez, who's Eric Perez, loading up a silver SUV type vehicle with the license plate number with clothes, okay? And here was the names. There was actually more of them than this, but Michael Hedrick, Nathan Land, and David Haywood. They were at my house right here. And like I said, they were inside my house, and that burglar set off a burglar alarm in the attic, a motion detector, okay? While we were looking at the recordings, they got a call for another Eric Perez sighting at Kelly Grimsley Auto, so they had to quickly leave. I felt like this was an intentional diversion tactic. You know, the news reported they just missed Eric here. Of course, the person in the attic knows what's going on, right? You know, so I think there was planning happening. On another day, the news reported that they almost caught him in Stanton, Eric, which is Martin County. That was when the first secret police, John Woodward, was the sheriff over there. I didn't find out that Woodward was a secret police until after the PI identified them in 2018, though. Okay. The news reported that he had stolen a Camaro and shot at Martin County deputies while trying to get away. He had tried to kill cops over in Martin County. When they finally arrested him, the charges for capital attempted murder went away, and he was only charged with evading arrest. Devin Sanchez, a reporter for News West 9, did an exclusive interview with him about why you should never run from the police, while leaving out the fact that he tried to kill Martin County Sheriff deputies. Here's the interesting part. She is the former wife of secret police and former Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, the first secret police at my home. That was his deputies that Eric had tried to kill or shoot. Interestingly, my next door neighbor that had the suspected tunnel entrance in his backyard had a red Camaro which somehow got wrecked around that time. I saw it hauled off by a wrecking company one day, and I wondered if that was the car that Eric had stolen in Martin County when he tried to murder the deputies over there. On the next cul-de-sac over on Westmont Court is a Perez family, and I wonder if they were related to Eric. Okay, I'm going to show you here. This one here is from the Odessa American, and it's showing you there firing a gun at Martin County Sheriff deputies. Normally, that's frowned upon. When you try to murder cops, they really don't like that. But this guy got a, he got a free ticket. Is what it looks like to me, and which is just throws up more red flags that he did have some connection here. Okay, and there was a woman arrested with him named Sonny Kunkel, and so here, let me jump over here. That was on January 4th, 2013, okay? And that's when they arrested him here. Here we go, September 24, 2013. This is later on in the year. Exclusive. Eric Perez, man on the run, speaks out. Devin Sanchez does an exclusive interview with him. Award-winning reporter Devin Sanchez, wife of Martin County Sheriff Deputy, former Martin County Sheriff and Secret Police John Woodward, right? Well, here's why you don't run from police, But she never mentioned, here's why you don't try to murder police, right? Especially police that work for my husband, And so I thought, that's why I put this comment. Why didn't he say, don't shoot at police, all them charges went away, the capital attempted murder, all that. He went to prison for evading arrest, is my understanding. In my research, I noticed that published news stories about this were being deleted from the news stations, and I had the screenshots to prove it. I drove to the News West 9 office, and I was asking for a copy of the news story where they had reported Eric was wanted for capital attempted murder, but was informed that all of their records prior to 2014 had been accidentally erased. This sounded similar to the city of Midland required records for underground structures, as I was told they had also been accidentally erased around the same time. Ain't that convenient when there's underground homes here? They're using them for oil show parties and murdering little girls, right? I told a rep at News West 9 my story, and a few days later I started noticing more news stories about Eric Perez that I had just seen were also being deleted. I made a video about this called Wanted for Capital Attempted Murder, and you ought to watch that video. I've got a link to it. To summarize, I wondered if my true miracle email to all those important people caused them to issue a warrant for Eric's arrest, but then there was a change of plans and they tried to cover it up. I still wonder if Eric was the shooter because of this chain of events. Okay, and then I have a dot point there. Notice the timestamps and how News West 9 posted that Eric was wanted for capital attempted murder, but then later that day, News West 9 reporter Devin Sanchez posted that he was only wanted for fraudulent identity. The charges for capital attempted murder were gone. That first news story was then deleted. You can't find it online anymore. Now News West 9 claims all of their records were accidentally erased. Thankfully, I have a print screen proving they did post it and then they deleted it. Okay, that's what I'm showing. So here's on the left, and this comes from News West 9 staff. So I'm showing man's on run after attempting to run over sheriff deputies in Martin County. Okay, and he's wanted for attempted capital murder. So we know for a fact News West 9 reported that. You know, that's what I'm saying. That verifies what I'm saying. December 28, 2012. Okay. And then also on December 28, 2012, just a few hours later, Devin Sanchez, award-winning reporter, right? She does her little deal, and he's wanted for fraudulent identities. All of a sudden, the wanted for capital attempted murder disappeared. This whole story disappeared, right? And she posted another one. Devin Sanchez did. I'm like, what's going on here? They're deleting news stories, and thankfully, I had a print screen of it. This video was made on April 30th, 2019, and is another example of the conspiracy and lawlessness going on to cover up violent crimes here. I'm not going to read this to you because you can go to that video. That's the description of the video that was posted back there in 2019, and this is the wanted for capital attempted murder. And so I just want to show you, it's packed full of evidence, and it tells that story of what I'm telling. That today I was really just summarizing from memory of what had happened, but that video has dates and times and lots more screenshots in it than this one does. Okay, moving on. This is exclusive by Devin Sanchez with Eric Perez saying why you should never run from the police, and leaving out that he shot at Martin County Sheriff deputies who worked for her husband, who was secret police and former Martin County Sheriff John Woodward. Normally, trying to kill cops is something that's frowned upon, right? I wondered if the gun that he shot at the deputies with was the same .45 handgun that I was told I was shot with. Remember, Lisa Rogers told me I was shot with a .45 handgun. I just found this on the internet earlier. Devin Sanchez is now the communications director for the Odessa Police Department. This reminded me of the promotions that I believe the secret police got after they were involved in a home invasion and capital attempted murder. So here this is on the internet there. Devin Sanchez, Odessa Police Department. Devin has worked for both News West 9 and CBS 7 News. Began her career as the city director of communications in July of 2019, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and I bet that was a nice little promotion, and I wondered if that wasn't. Well, thank you, Devin. Appreciate you deleting them news stories for us. And here's another example. After secret police Chad Simpson was accidentally caught on camera in my home a few hours after I had survived a capital murder attempt, he got promoted instead of being arrested. He then goes on to murder his young wife and kill himself and make orphans of his children. Who would think that somebody that was already involved in a capital attempted murder would do that? Shaking my head. You see the point I'm making? And I'm going to show you his obituary. Chad Simpson, one of the secret police. He's from Hobbs, New Mexico. That's my hometown right there. So was his wife, Sandra. Here we go. He's a canine officer. See, the longest time I had a picture of a canine police officer, but I didn't know who it was. And, it wasn't identified until 2018. But in 2014 is when he murdered his wife and killed himself, And so Chad was promoted to sergeant in 2012. That's what I'm talking about. 2012 is when he was caught in my house. His name was missing from the police report. He wasn't dispatched. He was one of the 11 secret police that took 6 years and a $2,000 award to get identified, and he gets promoted. That's what I'm saying. He gets promoted. He's involved in covering up a violent crime, a home invasion, capital attempted murder, where it looks like they're killing one homeowner after another. And here's his victim, his pretty wife, Sandra Simpson, and the mother of his 2 children. Shot her dead. Man, he just killed her. And I wonder if she didn't. I had just posted a story on my Facebook called "Rape and Murder," and it was about the underground parties, the girl being murdered, the police that were at the party. It's what Angie told me, right? And I posted the picture of the Midland Canine police officer. I just didn't know it was Chad. And you know, and just a few days later, all of a sudden Chad murders his wife and kills himself. I wondered if Sandra didn't, you know, see this Facebook post and you know, and read this story about this little girl being murdered at a party that the police were there, and this picture of a Midland Canine police officer, and she knows her husband's a Midland Canine police officer, and she asked him, were you there? Were you involved in the murder of that little girl? You know, and you know, and he decided he's just going to take them both out, you know. And, you know, I don't know, but that was one possible scenario. But the point of this is they were promoting the people involved in violent crimes, you know. Okay. And you know, the only deal here says Odessa, right? And then I said I was ambushed shot in Midland, and I knew that, and God bless you, Odessa was corrupt also. And that's right. And see, Midland, Odessa, they're like sister cities. They're only 20 miles apart. We all sit on the same oil field. You know, I mean, you could bet that plenty of Odessa people were at the oil show parties too. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.